Sagmeister & Walsh is a New York City-based design firm that creates identities, commercials, websites, apps, films, books and objects for clients, audiences and ourselves. They do advertising, art direction, branding and identity, consultancy and much, much more. Stefan Sagmeister's work is actually quite interesting and inspiring, so let's talk a little bit more about his work. I have researched Stefan Sagmeister's work. After looking through various pieces of artwork, I have been inspired by the artist. I feel that Sagmeister's work is so unique and it immediately catches my eye. Sagmeister creates his work in a really artistic and creative way. This is what pulls my eye. For example, this coffee piece on the screen right now interests me as he uses coffee as a metaphor for work. I think this is very clever of him to have used coffee as it is a typical hot drink that workers drink at work. Also, I like the way Sagmeister used a trophy as his big picture. This is also a clever way to represent achievement awards. After researching Stefan Sagmeister, I felt that I should respond to him in my own way. Instead of using coffee cups, I have used orange squash in the cups. This is because teenagers just tend to hate coffee. Instead of creating a picture, I have spelled out the alphabet. The reason why I've done this is because I can now scan in the letters and turn it into a font. I'm going to use www.fontcapture.com. This way, I can type out my quotes, trying to look good limits my life, and trying to look good expands my life. For this response, I thought the first quote would fit perfectly for this. The reason for this is because of religious reasons. After showing the response to many people, they found it difficult to see what it was. Most people thought it looked like eggs, but eggs are restricted in Hinduism, as Hindus are vegetarians. This is where I got the idea of using such things Hindus are restricted from, but isn't much of a big deal. For example, makeup, cutting your hair and dressing up. This piece has inspired me in many ways. I feel that I have many ways to respond to this, however I would like to round my ideas down to have a phrase or a quote after looking at other pieces of Sagmeister's work. I have been inspired by his quote, "Trying to look good limits my life." I feel this would be a perfect quote for me as I feel that I am always trying to look good. However, I have many restrictions and everyone loves to break small rules. So therefore, I would like to change the quote slightly to "Trying to look good expands my life." This is very clever of him to choose a quote out of his list for him to create a piece of work. This has given me an idea of writing out my own mantra list of life lessons. This has inspired me to Sagmeister's work. However, I feel that the way Sagmeister presents his work doesn't attract me as I would like to present a full quote onto one piece, whereas Sagmeister spreads his work out. Also, I like the way Sagmeister uses a similar background on each word. For example, the background is also always outside. This links in well. I also would like to respond to it in this way. I would like to use makeup or something which links in with me to be the background and the word. Sagmeister's quote, "Trying to look good limits my life, refers to his work. However, if I was to use this quote, I would refer to it as my appearance. I could use a quote to refer to religion, as looking good limits some religions' lives. For example, Hinduism. For example, Sikhs are not allowed to cut their hair, and Muslims are not allowed to show their body, their face or hair. They have to cover themselves up with a hijab or a burqa. Moving on to another piece of Sagmeister's work. In this image is Sagmeister himself. This piece includes writing on his body. Sagmeister got his assistant to carve poster details onto his body with a craft knife. The following year, Sagmeister was sunbathing and noticed the text rising on his skin as he tanned. These poster details were important to Sagmeister. This piece really made it personal to Sagmeister as he's used himself and he's gone to the extreme of actually carving into his own body. It is quite harmful, which makes it even more personal. If I was to respond to this, I wouldn't go to the extreme of carving into my body, but there are other ways of doing so. For example, using henna. Henna would be an interesting material to use, as it is a cultural tradition and it is also used to look good. Henna can be used to draw patterns on body parts and also to dye hair with. It is a product that can encourage you to become vain over a body part you like and have it made look prettier. The whole purpose of it is so that it stains on your body and it stays on for a good couple of weeks. This could link in with Sagmeister, as when he carved in the notes, it left him scarred. However, henna is more safe and not permanent. Here are some examples of me writing on body parts on myself and others. I have written in my own language, which is Gujarati. The reason for this is so that I can write personal messages so that not everybody can read. If you can read the scripts, it's basically just me talking about myself being vain. As well as henna, you could also use a biro or even just makeup eyeliner. But if you wanted to go to that extra mile, you could actually get it tattooed onto your body, but I don't think I would go that far. As you can see, Sagmeister is a typographer. He puts typography into his work in different ways, and he tends to have them all handwritten. On his body, he's carved the words onto his skin, which is handwritten. Even with the mantras that he took from his diary, he's taken each word and he built it in an environment. With the coffee cups, he's written the information beside the trophy.